Hello and welcome back, consumers. I'm Altari, the professional gamer, and this is another PAX Friday review. This is the show where we talk about all the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has dropped for PAX Day over the last week. This week has been the most exciting week that could have possibly ever happened for PAX Day, and the reason is because everyone now can be playing the game. This is the first week of early access. It has been met with mixed reviews on Steam, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as all of the different bugs and things that have been getting addressed over this week. So I hope that you can sit down, relax, and enjoy this informational PAX Friday review. We will be back to some news, I would imagine, over the next week or two, and we have been covering so much over this week. I think we've done over like 12 hours of live streaming at this point. It's been nuts. Thanks to everyone who's been tuning in to us over on Twitch as well as on YouTube. We are streaming on both platforms. I have a very exciting announcement. We will also be doing another key giveaway. I believe this is for another Master Founders Pack. It is only one key. We are going to have it open for, I think, the next 3 days. So be sure to check us out over on the Professional Gamer Discord. That is linked down below. But let's go ahead and get to talking about some Steam reviews as well as bugs and things that happen on the first week of a early access release for an MMO. I'll see you over there. All right, so first things first. Oh, I guess I'm on the Steam page. That threw me off. So, hello. We are going to be talking a little bit about the mixed Steam reviews right now. I just wanted to do a quick little mention for it. I believe that everyone's opinion is valid. I do think that there's a little bit of an issue right now with how the reviews are being done, and why I think that is a problem we'll talk about in a little bit. We'll just maybe turn me off here. Sorry about that. But here we go. Let's go take a look at a couple of these different reviews. So the overarching theme that I've really noticed in a lot of these Steam reviews, and it is currently mixed on Steam, is that a lot of the players who are posting negative reviews have only played the hour, or like the first hour or a couple of hours in the game. And while I think that is a decent amount of feedback to be giving for a game that, again, is early access, I also think it's kind of unfair to rate PAX Dei, a game that is designed for long grinds and, you know, this grueling, slow pace, but really nice rewards as you continue to advance. It's kind of hard to rate it on 14.8 hours or 5.9 or 8.6 or 0.2. A lot of these to me seem like players who are angry because the game isn't the game that they wanted it to be, when it very clearly never tried to be the game that they wanted it to be either. And that, I feel like, is okay. So I know that there's a lot of potential drama that's going around in the community right now because of the mixed Steam reviews. I do think that this is very similar to any other early access game where the developers actually are in an alpha or a beta, where they're actually trying to get information on what they need to do for their game and how they need to change it and update it. A lot of these reviews are reflectant of what I believe is kind of the unfortunate current status of a lot of early access games, where publishers just force devs to put a near finished product out onto the market, because if they put early access on it, they can get away with a couple of small bugs. PAX Dei is a working alpha. It is a game that is actively being tested, developed, and iterated on by the developers. It's very clear in everything that we've seen over the last year and all of the different alpha tests that we have been in over that last year, that everything is in a constant state of change in the game, and they're constantly taking player feedback and expanding upon that. Now, there's also a lot of comments with regards to the subscription payment model for the game, and there's a lot of players who seem to be really upset about that in terms of the Steam reviews. Again, I don't understand how anyone can really be upset about a subscription plan when we don't even know what the pricing model exactly is going to be on. I think this is both the problem of Mainframe, where they kind of shared a little bit too much, but then were too vague with what they were talking about. So now players' minds have kind of gone to the races. But then at the same time, it's also a little bit of the player's fault because you're upset about something that we don't even have all of the information for. I, just as much as anyone else, don't want to be forking money out the wazoo, nor do I believe that there should be any kind of pay to win functionality for the game. And if you're able to just buy infinite numbers of plots as a single player in the game, that does have a little bit of a pay to win mechanic. However, with how grindy the rest of the game is, as long as money doesn't get involved in any of those other things, I don't think it should be that big of a problem either. But all of that being said, the reviews being mixed for the start of early access, my opinion, while you should be able to take them with a big, heavy grain of salt because it is a true early access game, some of them still are warranted. The early player experience for the game is pretty rough right now. And one thing that we did learn from the roadmap posted earlier this week is that early player experience is something that's going to be getting worked on. There's going to be some more tutorials that come in to the game, not something that's been done on YouTube or just some word and text blocks that some players might accidentally happen upon if they press the letter H on their keyboard while they're in game, or go to the tutorial section when they press escape. It needs to be a lot clearer for how to play the game and why things are the way that they are. There's a lot of design language that needs to be updated. I mean, people are picking up relics that could be really, really important, but because they're not unlocking anything when they pick those relics up, sometimes they just throw them away, and they're precious, precious things that you want to hold on to, and they don't know. So that's also why this channel exists, so that we can inform you with all of the great information that there is with Pax Dei. And that's why you should totally like this video, subscribe, and share with any of your friends who are also playing the game. That being said, I just wanted to mention everything with regards to the giant elephant in the room, the mixed Steam reviews. Early access games have issues like that. I'm pretty sure games, even Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3, had mixed reviews when the game first came out. I know I didn't enjoy the game when it first came out. I also know that it was impossible to pull me away from Baldur's Gate 3 when it was released last year in the summertime. So take it with what it is. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think the devs are ready to take that on head first. But let's go ahead and go over to the Pax Dei official Discord and see about what the devs have been grinding their heads against this week to make the experience as good as they can. There were a couple of bugs and issues, and we're going to cover all of that now. I'll see you over there. All right, and here we are over on the official Discord for Pax Dei, and we're just going to cover a couple of the different bugs and everything that happened this week with the launch of the game. And there's some things to talk about there. So first and foremost, the game launched when it was expected to. That's always great. Came out at around 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, at least for me. And there really were no big hiccups in the game that we experienced for several hours. Now, I was talking about this on stream during the week, but I feel like we might have personally had an effect on the servers, because right when we hit a problem, the rest of the servers started to fall apart. We realized that we needed to change our guild name because I accidentally named it the wrong name. We needed to change it before things got too crazy. And in order to do that, we ended up firing all of our clan members and then making a new clan and remaking it. And right when that started happening, like in the middle of it happening, we no longer were able to promote players to elder status, remove players from the clan, or literally do much of anything. And it still actually is a problem to this day. But right when that happened is when there was also the issues starting to pop up of not being able to place items or build pieces. And for about 6 to 12 hours, players were experiencing delays in actually placing things. Fortunately, the developers did find out what the problem was. It turns out that the entity spawner for each of the servers was kind of like a single file line, or at least that's how it's been described to me previously. And all of the NPCs that existed on the map were spawning in either too rapidly, or there was some kind of issue that was going on with them. The result of which was a lot of problems with actually spawning items in. That created a giant backlog, and that backlog just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and nothing really was able to be solved. So once the developers found out what that problem was, they kind of unscrambled everything and made it a lot more kind to what was actually supposed to be. And you can kind of see in this image right here that this is what the number of NPCs were originally. And then after they fixed the problem, everything went down to a far more stable count. And that fixed a lot of the spawn in, spawn out issues. And then the queue slowly got itself worked out. So there's still a couple of issues that are popping up. Sometimes players, at least on the Steam launcher, they won't be able to log into their character, or the game kicks the player back to the character selection. We're actually going to have a whole nother video quickly describing how to fix that problem. They did find the solution to it, and that's really, really great. Additionally, over the week, they had a couple of different status updates, both for day 2 and day 3. And they identified that there's a couple of building issues as well as mining nodes becoming non-interactable. These problems currently still do exist. They're also investigating some more crafter and chest issues, teleporting back to home shrine, causing the character to get logged out or to crash, and then not being able to log in to your character. There is a workaround for that. We're going to cover that in a separate video, so be sure to check out on the channel. We will have an explanation on how to fix that for you. So all of that being said, a lot has happened in just the last 4 days alone since the game has come out, and it is very great to see the devs hard at work. Hopefully some of them at least have managed to get some sleep. It looks like things have stabilized a little bit more, and relatively a painless launch. Now, one of the things that excited me most about all of this was that a lot of these changes occurred without a single ounce of downtime on the servers. My clan and I, we were all playing the game while these changes were actively being iterated on by the devs. And that is just magic to me, coming from a background in games where literally if something goes wrong, the devs have to shut the entire server down, make the change, and then spin it back up. Having it so they can make these changes in the background and then have it reflected in the game without literally a drop of interruption on the player experience side, obviously with the exception of being able to actually place things. You could have still gone out and farmed or gone and explored points of interest or anything like that. The experience, the game didn't ever shut down. So that I found to be really, really impressive. And we were all talking about that on stream a couple of days ago. And it's mind-boggling how this is kind of the future of MMOs, where you don't need to have downtime for things all of the time, and you can get all of this stuff ramping up. I don't know how many players ultimately were all trying to log in at the same time. And because of the building issues, I feel like Pax Dei's launch experience was kind of shot in the foot, considering that building is a big aspect and players couldn't do it for 6 to 12 hours. So hopefully that doesn't too negatively impact all of the players who would have been playing the game. And that we'll be able to get to more of a state of normalcy and what we can expect for Pax Dei to come in the coming months as we are in early access. There's still a lot of exciting stuff to come. We've already seen the roadmap. It's still under my impression that this is all a summer roadmap. There's still way more to come in fall, winter, and spring as we go into what is the projected full launch of Pax Dei in 2025 around this time. So all great things. I know that there are still some mixed reviews out there. Some players have some definitive opinions on stuff like the grind times, how solo players can't really play together, or how solo players are choosing to not play together and they don't like the experience that they're getting. Subscription fees coming in the future. All of those things are very valid. We'll continue to talk about them over on this channel, and I hope that you can join us along for all of that, as well as our continued journey in Pax Dei. And with all of that being said, if you like this type of content, be sure to like the video, subscribe so that you can get notified whenever we come out with new Pax Dei or Pax Dei related content, and share this video with any of your friends who might be interested in Pax Dei. Until the next video, I'm Altari, the Professional Gamer.